This video is sponsored by
The next station will be Fortuna 69.
I'd very much rather stick a rusty nail into my eye than make a sponsorship be a part of a video. Anyways, it doesn't take a genius to know that DE kind of has a habit of releasing content and then rarely, if ever, touching it again for what feels like eons. Conclave, Lunaro, Frame Fighter, Raids, and Titania are but a few examples. I love having more things to do as much as the next guy, but seeing several pieces of content be introduced only to end up gathering dust feels like the developer version of how us as the players treat new weapons. Unlock them, craft them, max them, and then never touch them again, unless they happen to be the new meta. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being given more things to do. There really isn't. However, when development time is used to make several sideline sections of the game such as Conclave or Frame Fighter then end up either never being touched again or only revisited when a new Warframe drops, it just feels like resources are being put into the wrong aspects of Warframe. Again, don't misunderstand me. I had fun with Frame Fighter for about 3 days, but then I just want back the mainline content of Warframe, which is essentially the core of the game. As much fun as it is to mess around with Shazam, the Mandicord, Fashion Frame, or simply going open world fishing, that's not what people play Warframe for. They're entertaining, sure. They're additional activities to do, sure. But, that's not what entices players to Warframe, because after all, nobody's ever come to Warframe purely because we have over 30 different color palettes to decorate Warframes with. There's the exception of Lunaro, which was originally pitched by DE back in TennoCon 2017 as a brand new mode for players to jump into and play as part of the Conclave. Naturally, it was dead almost on arrival, for 3 simple reasons. 1. Even though Lunaro isn't a horrendously unbalanced PvP nightmare, it's still part of the Conclave. Therefore, nobody cares about Lunaro because 2. Conclave offers no incentive for players and has no relevance in Warframe, which is a game that is 90% PvE, not PvP. This is a problem because 3. Since PvP isn't the strong point of Warframe, it doesn't get the bulk of the development team's attention, meaning it's just going to sit there being irrelevant until once every blue moon it gets new Conclave mods or something. At that point, it kind of becomes a question of, why even bother? Especially considering that Conclave has practically no bearing on the rest of Warframe. And like I mentioned in a previous video, nobody plays Lunaro.
DE themselves have said nobody plays Lunaro, which might make you wonder why they tried implementing it in the first place.
We added Arcwing, we added Lunaro, which turned out no one really plays, which is fine. You're allowed to make mistakes, that's cool, but you need to try.
Granted, it was mostly filler content they expanded on to fill time before Spectres of the Rail went live, but objectively, there is nothing wrong with trying out new things and seeing how the players react. Without stuff like that, we wouldn't have huge scope-changing moments like the Second Dream or Plains of Eidolon. But given that Lunaro was added during a time when people were still getting used to how annoying operators are, it does leave the question, why?
I suppose I should rephrase myself. It's fine for DE to make mistakes. It really is. However, burning time on trying out new things when players just want more content to play is a bold and ambitious approach, but it's also time-consuming, not to mention that trying out new things can lead to content that nobody ends up playing, like Lunaro. At the same time, spending too much time on trying out new things also has the potential of causing lesser quality updates or events to be made so as to not spend too much time away from developing mainline content, case in point, Operation Buried Debts. The way in which DE makes, releases, and ignores content sometimes gives off the impression that they're becoming out of touch with their player base, even though DE has plenty of resources they could utilize to better understand what it is the players want to play and what they want to be improved. As we all know, though, DE also has a habit of not using those resources at all. Being left ignored or given little to no content to play results in players being bored, and naturally, that eventually results in people leaving, whether it be temporarily or permanently. I am indeed aware that we're in yet another content drought, which is likely to end next week. But it's a tad too early to claim that Warframe is dying, considering that the lowest player peak we've ever had was back during the extremely early days of the game, not to mention that Warframe has a distinctive pattern. Warframe has never lost players for more than 3 months in a row. Or at least, not yet. Personally, I think it's more accurate to say that Warframe is in another recession rather than simply saying Warframe is dying. But I digress. The lack of stuff to do is a direct result of Warframe simply evolving, I would say. We are well past the point where operations were delivered on an almost monthly basis, because those were the days where the big ideas such as open world or cinematic quests didn't exist yet. Now, because the game is growing in terms of the sheer size and scale of updates we receive compared to 3 years ago, it's only reasonable that continually making ever more ambitious updates such as the ongoing Railjack and eventual new war takes increasingly more time and resources to develop. When you think about it that way, DE is kind of forced to make bite-sized content for the players, simply to give them something to do, even if it's minuscule, because otherwise we'd be sitting here on absolutely nothing to do while DE toils away with new updates. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that events should be poorly made or delivered with heavy levels of grind. Is it really wrong to ask for non-mainline content to be given the same level of quality that mainline content receives? In my opinion, no. Being happy with being given hastily thrown together patches in between big updates is the equivalent of being satisfied with eating poorly cooked appetizers at any given restaurant as you wait for your main dish to finish being made. In the words of Gordon Ramsay,
"The fucking bass is fucking raw! What the fuck is going on?"
Thank you for watching.